like Christian hardcore music was devotional to a large extent. The early stuff was really, it was like there was a kind of liturgy to it. You know, it's like these kids are trying to like worship God through making and listening to and attending sort of performances of this music. And like on one hand, I'm glad in a way that, you know, that teenagers or whatever who are just scrolling through Spotify might sort of have some one of these things spit into their algorithm, their algorithmically derived playlist or something. Like that's kind of interesting to me. But on the other hand, like what made this stuff so urgent and what made it so important for me as a young person was that it wasn't just an art object. It was a piece of a world, right?
But then what that means is that a little bit of that, a little bit of a radioactive object, like a fragment of a radioactive object from a radioactive world, got thrown into this person's algorithm on a particular day. And I don't think we can predict the impact of that, especially if we're talking about art that is sacred in some sense. I think that means, as with anything that involves kind of the banalization of Christianity, I think that radioactivity never fully goes away, and that we can't assume that the impact, that we know like what the impact will be, that we can't write off that kid isn't going to have something. It won't be your experience, and in that way, yes, it's all tragic, because death is tragic, aging is tragic. No, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be like super morbid, but it's like, yeah, I mean, no one will ever again have the teenage experience that you or I had, and nor will I ever have my dad's teenage experience. And that's inherently, like, we need to just admit that does suck. Like the grief we feel over that is legitimate, but I don't think we can write off the possibility that people are having other kinds of experience with art, or are still capable of having kinds of experiences with art that are still life-changing in ways that we couldn't foresee, and that will then themselves be surpassed and replaced, unless Jesus comes back next week. So I don't know. I try to maintain both a sense of mourning about that stuff and also an openness to possibility.
Yeah, this, there will be a time for moshing and a time for streaming, a time for...
There you go. I love it.
This too is vanity.